Welcome back. The 6 breakaway riders were still away as they approached the final sprint of the day at Wyndham, but conditions were deteriorating. Their lead, though, still very much intact.
Well, we're into the closing kilometres of this, the longest stage. You can see the lead. The question you've got to ask yourself is, can they hang on for the sprint?
Well, the maximum this lead was 7 minutes and 5 seconds, and it's come really down towards the final few kilometres. With 5 kilometres to go, 2 minutes and 10, the winner's going to come from this group.
You think so? I mean, can they hold off the bunch?
Yeah, almost definitely. The winner is going to come from one of these riders, which is fantastic. We've seen a lot of great winners: Thor Hushovd, Mark Cavendish, Lars Boom, Mark Renshaw, but we're going to see one of the smaller teams coming away with a stage win today.
So really we ought to start to analyse the strength of the sprinters here. We know that Bagdonas, the Lithuanian, is powerful, and also Ian Wilkinson. Probably they're the 2 best in the finish.
Well, they have been away for a long period of time, and it kind of drags up into the park, and the finishing line isn't easy. You've got to remember that it's who's got the strength left in the legs to pull out a sprint at the end.
Well, the big teams are starting to come through to the head of the peloton, but I definitely think they've left it too late.
Yeah, well, it's Rabobank, it's leading the way at the moment. The gold jersey just on the left-hand side, having a look around. Well, the winner is going to come from the leading group of 6 riders, but who's it going to be? But there's still some points for the points jersey to be had.
If you looked at the front of the peloton there, you could see that 1 or 2 of the sprinters were trying to make their way through to the head of the field, particularly Thor Hushovd in that World Championship jersey.
Well, HTC Hydro did put a few riders on the front to bring this gap down, but I think they're thinking at the moment that the stage is actually gone.
Back to that comment I made a little earlier, I feel that the peloton have underestimated the strength of the riders here in this group.
Well, every one of the 6 riders in front are prepared to take their turn all the way into the finishing line, because they want to try and guarantee that they get one of these guys gets a stage win today.
Well, Cavendish took a look back there, didn't he? But have you noticed it's gone back up? It's 2:30 now.
They've given up the ghost now. They know that they're going for the 7th place, the minor placings, so it's going to be very interesting how this final sprint plays out with the 6 in front.
So they've turned the power off here then at the front of the peloton, and the rhythm just being tapped out by the Rabobank team, with that gold jersey leader Lars Boom sitting in 3rd position. And that's played definitely into the hands of the leaders. It's edged back up then to 2.5 minutes, and that's a nice useful cushion for the breakaway 6 to get to the finish ahead.
Well, it just goes to show you sometimes these smaller teams, the 2nd and 3rd division teams, can outsmart the big Pro Tour teams. So this is fantastic stage. Great to see a new person and a new team on the podium tonight.
Well, it's a stellar performance by this group. They took their chance, they slipped away after just about 3.5 miles, and they've never ever given up. They've had their hopes high all the way, and it looks very much to me as though one of these riders is going to end up with a fruitful victory.
Well, we have got 3 domestic teams here from Great Britain: Sigma Sport, Rally and Endura Racing, with 3 kilometres to go. If one of these guys could win, it could be the first win by a domestic team since this Tour of Britain started in 2004.
They're carrying on, powering on inexorably then towards the finish in Sandringham Estate. Now then, will any of these take a chance and try and jump away for the lone victory?
Well, I'm not too sure. It depends on how much they've got left in their legs. It's been 124 miles, the longest stage of the Tour so far, and I think it's going to just be a matter of strength. Who's got enough strength left in their legs?
It certainly derailed the hopes of the peloton, because I think when they began to ramp the pace up, they thought that they would reel them back in, but I'm afraid not. And now, as you said, they are sprinting for the minor places, but the 6 ahead are going to start to get a little bit twitchy now. But it is hard, isn't it, to try and jump clear and distance yourself, because with roads as straight as that, it would be almost impossible to stay away.
Yeah, it's just rising up ever so slightly. Walter Sabrandi at Sigma Sport just starting to dangle off the back of the other 5 at the moment, all prepared to keep it going all the way to the line. This is going to be a very, very difficult sprint for a lot of these riders. We have been out there for a long, long time today in different conditions.
Now, all these riders will, of course, read the handbook and discussed it with the manager on the kind of approach into the Sandringham Estate. So, what do you think's going to happen here? Well,
it looks as if Zabrandi's back at the back for Sigma Sport. So, there's 6 riders going to come into the Sandringham Park. It's a bit of a horseshoe finish in the last kilometre. The road surfaces are okay, but again, it's going to come down to who's got enough strength left in the legs.
Well, no man from Lithuania has ever won a stage in this Tour of Britain, so I'm just wondering if Bagdonas is going to change that statistic.
and it's Matt Bramier, the Irish champion, pushing hard at the front with the gold jersey well in contention. Endura just on the right hand side with Paul Voss, but you got to remember that these guys are riding for 7th place.
And thinking about the British victories as well, there's been 7. Mark Cavendish has got 3, Hammond's got 2, Ben Swift 1 and Paul Manning 1. Now then, can Ian Wilkinson add to the tally?
Well, the 6 riders are still together now. I would have thought maybe there was a couple of riders maybe have gone on the attack, but every one of these riders, maybe not Sigma Sport at the back with Walter Zabrandi, kind of hanging on slightly, but these guys thinking that they maybe can outsprint each other.
Well, there he is, Wilkinson, just crouching down. He's won many a sprint in the closed city centre races, and he's had 1 or 2 handy road victories to his credit as well. But there it is, the Flamme Rouge, 1 kilometre to go. Who will cover themselves in glory at the end of this?
Well, it's Ian Wilkinson at the front, Hanley of Raleigh in 2nd place. They're all starting to play cat and mouse, looking behind. Nobody wants to try and lead this out, and a stage win in the Tour of Britain for one of these teams is going to be absolutely fantastic.
And the thing is, Wilkinson at the moment is in the worst position. Now that's better. He needs to get into the wheels, so he's got the element of surprise. And it looks very much to me as though they've worked the man from An Post to the front, and that's Bagdonis.
Well, these are the type of sprints we see more in the track racing, and they're looking behind, and everybody just having a wee bit of respect for each other. And the rider in the green at the front from An Post is probably one of the strongest sprinters, as you say, but let's forget the enduro racing rider of Ian Wilkinson.
The element of surprise. Now then, Wilkinson's further back. Can he jump down the outside of the line and make a gap? Bagdonis at the moment looks quite content to set this up from the front. Here we go. Looks like an early strike for home by the young rider from Raleigh. This is Richard Hanley of Team Raleigh. He's having a crack, but the rest have latched onto it. He hasn't made a hole. He's now forced to lead this one out, and the man that could profit from it is Bagdonis in 2nd place. Now then, where's Wilkinson? He's sat up. He knows he's gone too early. Here comes Wilkinson on the right. Now then, is he going to cover himself in glory and nail a stage victory? He's trying to stall the others. He knows it's still quite a long way to go. He hasn't committed himself fully. There it is, 100 metres to go, and he's back here. Now here he goes again, and Bagdonis is coming as well in the middle, and Wilkinson, I think, has caught napping there, and he can't close him down, and it looks like Bagdonis is going to take this up to the line. Wilkinson, he's trying to challenge, but he's going to run out of distance. He does. So over the line first, it's Bagdonis of An Post, Sean Kelly, and second here Wilkinson of Enduro Racing. And just tailed off the back there was Richard Handley, who went first.
Not only have they won the stage, they've got a rider at the front as An Post inside the last kilometre for the bunch.
And there's a rider from Leopard Trek sitting in 2nd spot, and the world champion Tour Hushoff is there in the mix in that rainbow jersey, and right on the outside of him is Lars Boom, the overall race leader, and also in the blue there you can see Geraint Thomas, and he's in the prostate cancer charity jersey. Well, 1 or 2 big names lining up at the front here, but also crouching down in 2nd spot is Mark Cavendish in those dark classes, the fastest finisher on the planet. So if he can finish 7th, he'll pick up some handy points here in the points competition. They're beginning to gather themselves now as the line's getting ever nearer. Here comes the challenge on the right, and this is Tour Hushoff, the world champion. Hushoff is leading this out. Look at Cavendish, that typical crouching style of the Manx Express as he moves forward and comes into the wheel of Hushoff. Hushoff stalled for a moment. You can't do that when you got Cavendish closing you down. Now then, here we are, the concluding stages. He looks over the shoulder again, and it leaves Cavendish at the front, and now he's beginning to unwind, and this is what the big crowd have come to see. Cavendish, holding the rest at bay, comes in to cross the line in 7th position.
Well, it just goes to show you, Mark Cavendish, he won a stage and now thinking of the points jersey by taking 7th place. But back to the slow motion of the finish, Bagdonis just has the march on everybody else at the moment. They're on the wheel, and Ian Wilkinson just gets that wee bit more strength, tries to come round the left-hand side and just runs out of roads. So
history in the making here, the first Lithuanian ever in the Tour of Britain to win a stage, and his name, Bagdonis. He is the victor here in Sandringham Estate.